an absolute blast. We get to talk about patient health and connecting patients with care all the time. And this time we got the cutest patients in the world we're going to talk about, and that's pets and animal health. And I can't wait to introduce you to my new BFF from Columbus, Ohio. What's up, Sarah Berger?
Hey, Alex, O-H.
I-O. That's
I-O, thank you.
Did I do it right? Okay. Let's see, we're in Georgia, but I've heard that. Wait, y'all just won the thing.
We just won the Natty.
Yeah, congrats. Yeah, congrats. Our team won a bunch of them lately, so I know how fun that is for a community. Guys, Columbus. If you haven't been to Columbus, I will tell you this. I was surprised. I went for a conference, the best food in the country. It's the melting pot of America, so all the food brands test there. Wendy's has their innovation kitchen. And no, her last name was not chosen based on that. Sarah, where do you work?
I work at MedVet, and we're founded, veterinary owned and led here in Columbus, Ohio, and we provide emergency and specialty healthcare for pets. And while we have our roots here in Columbus, we actually have more than 40 locations nationwide, little known secret. So yeah, excited to be here today.
How many total locations?
40.
40?
40 plus and growing. We just opened a brand new emergency hospital in Frisco, Texas on Monday. Okay. So that's why we're growing faster than we can keep up.
Texas. Everybody wants to go to Texas. My birth state.
Wants to
yeah, Texas. Oh, the Southern Belt. It's more predictable, I guess.
Lots of pets in Texas. That's why we like Texas. Lots of pets in Texas.
Free pets. They have tons of freedom in Texas, those pets. And it's crazy. That's the more predictable place. And now they get more snow than New York does. So here we go. You know what was crazy, Sarah? This will date this, but we have a lot of friends in Florida because we're in Georgia and they're dancing around in the snow on the beach. And I'm like, guys, we're like laughing at Armageddon right now. Okay, podcast for another day. All right, so MedVet seems to be specialty. So we're not talking wellness exams. You guys get the more complicated stuff. Is it like a Blue Pearl? How do we relate?
That would be a near equivalent. So we are an extension of your primary care veterinarian. And so when your wellness care vet is unavailable or they're closed for the day, et cetera, and your pet is sick, injured, ill, hit by a car, needs help right away, you can come to our hospitals 24/7 in most cases. And then if they need specialty care, cardiology, ophthalmology, cancer treatment, other specialty needs, that's what we're there for too.
Absolutely. And so is a big part of the gig making sure that the vets are good referral partners and lots of nurturing happening there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Vast majority of our patients come to us on the recommendation. No different than in human healthcare, right? You go to your GP and they say, hey, go see so-and-so. And so we're fortunate to have earned a reputation for expertise, high quality care delivery. And so we get that nod more often than not. And then it's also important to us for emergencies. You don't need a referral. They happen when they happen. And so urgently or emergently, you just come on over, no appointment, and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, the beauty with pets is you don't need referrals. I mean, it's not HIPAA governed. It's not any of that kind of.
It makes it nice, although MedVet does prioritize patient confidentiality. And so while we're not required to follow HIPAA standards, we absolutely do have implemented in our practices a number of those same protections. So for example, we don't talk about patient situations if the media calls us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, we get on TV because we have popular patients or, some trending patients, and, we don't talk about what's going on out of their privacy. So we do hold ourselves to some of those standards, even though it's not technically required.
I love that. Privacy, the name of the game. Okay, so 40 locations. I mean, that's the equivalent of a general vet having 120 because the amount of revenue flowing through you guys. So, okay, now let's talk about the marketing functions in general. You ran marketing. You also ran comms, not marketing. Okay, I get it. When you were overseeing direct to patient or even currently, what were the main marketing tools? Because you guys are specialty. There's less search volume than, hey, wellness exam or a sick vet, or I just moved here. So what kind of stuff worked? Because it will apply to plastics and cosmetics or ortho surgeon, all that kind of stuff. It's going to apply the same stuff. What worked?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you pointed out, big difference between emergency and specialty. Emergency, big search volume because you got to be there in that moment of need. So emergency care need me, after hours care, very, I'm going to say, I don't want to say basic because it's a term, but the very descriptive terms from a search standpoint are what really rules the day. And then for specialty, it is referral driven. And so also if it's not from the doctor, then what happens, right? Just like in human healthcare, hey, I think I need to have surgery. Have you had surgery? Who did you go to? Right. And so, if it's not the doctors referring, the primary care vet's referring, it's friends and family and their experiences. Also important is, what are those star ratings? Are we being noted as providing quality care, et cetera? But paid search for emergency is essential. And I think we found that over the past 2 to 3 years. It was interesting in the COVID era, we didn't need to market at all, because a lot of veterinary practices had to close during the pandemic. And so we were kind of the last man standing because of the ER and specialty service. So coming out of COVID, that's what really started to change. And you've seen a lot more investment in digital to really own that in the moment of need. Who comes up first? Do they have a strong reputation? Can I get in? And then it's all about the service of the healthcare team, right? When they call, are we answering the phone? Are we kind? Are we demonstrating our compassion, our expertise, and going from there?
I love that. I mean, you just walk through the whole patient experience. It's not just about getting a lot of visibility on PPC, but when they come, online scheduling, does it work? Is it showing immediate appointments? And then when they actually show up, are the people as nice as the pictures on the website?
Exactly. Our frontline caregivers are amazing. And, just like every business, I wish I could say we were perfect. We're not. And in those moments, I had a colleague tell me once, the true character of an organization may not always appear in the good times. It comes in those bad times, right? And so how do we recover, if you will, in those situations and learn from the experience and continuously get better and better and better so that we can mitigate errors, so we can mitigate those experiences. We want people to come in and feel our compassion from the moment. And sometimes people have bad days, right? And so we want to push on that, learn from that, and just keep getting better and better.
How do you get the feedback? Let's talk about it. Is it just a bad Google review or you get some kind of silent NPS thing sent out? How are you finding out?
We're a strong NPS organization. Yep, I'm sorry to talk over you there. I get so excited about this stuff. But MedVet has a robust client experience survey process. We survey thousands of our clients every year. Currently, our organization-wide NPS is, I think the last call, 74. Overall, which on that scale of negative 100 to 100, that's best in class, best in profession from a veterinary standpoint. So we're real proud of that. Along with that, we also get a lot of feedback person to person as we visit our referral partners, right? And so how are we doing with your clients? What are your clients telling you about the service that we're getting? So it's direct from the clients. It is the reviews. And then it's also, what we're hearing on the street through their providers.
All right, 2 things there on the NPS. Is it sent out? It's not just a 0 to 10 number that you're sending out, but there must be a fill-in box. And they're like, something happened. And what tech do you use if you're comfortable saying it? And when does it go out? What are some nuances there?
We have surveys going out every day to clients, and they answer a robust list of questions on all aspects of their experience from the time they walked in the door, to use your word, Alex, and what you picked up on earlier, that entire patient journey matters to us. Yeah. So we asked them about how they were greeted. We asked them about the quality of care they provided. We asked them, what was their discharge process and how did they feel during that? And they do give us a rating, and we do follow the classic NPS. Right. So your promoters are going to be above, right? Middles, and then 3s and belows, I believe, are your negatives. And it's very, very closely correlated actually to our Google ratings, right? And so, we're looking for a 4.4 or higher is our goal. And roughly 78% of our Google ratings across the organization are in that mark and would be considered promoters. And so you see that tie, which is nice.
Do you solicit actively for reviews on Google as well?
We do not. We solicit only through the client experience survey. So if you talk about how we've connected things, our healthcare team will not ask you to survey. Our doctors will not ask you to survey. That's not their job. Their job is to deliver expert care. And so it's really, if you'll do our client experience survey, we do have an integrated process for reviews.
I love it. I love it. Okay. And then soliciting feedback from the liaisons in the field, and they say, hey, Dr. Smith. And Dr. Smith says, hey, listen, man, I heard something weird happen when they sent this patient over. And so there must be a feedback loop. Where does that person go? Are they going to their head of comms, or is there someone dedicated, liaisons, the head of the liaisons?
We're highly local, and we believe strongly in that doctor to doctor or medical caregiver to caregiver feedback, right? So a referral partner, if they have a comment, it might start maybe with a referral liaison or member of the marketing team, but it's going to ultimately, they're going to have that conversation with the medical director or hospital director of the location, and they're going to talk through that. They'll talk to the doctor directly. And so we're more of a conduit, if you will, for that information to get back. We'll share the information, we'll share the feedback, and then we'll facilitate to make sure that the loops are closed. But at the end of the day, it's caregiver, doctor that matters most to us.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all have probably been very meticulous in your growth, because it's still very care-centric, and some of that I've seen get lost.
Absolutely.
And it's 300-400.
Well, and that's intentional. It's also attributed because we're actually the largest network of veterinarian founded, owned, and led hospitals. So you mentioned, like a Blue Pearl or VCA. These are what you'd call more corporate or private equity owned practices, and that's not who we are. So our doctors and retired doctors, founders own us, and that does allow us to be so care centric.
Yeah, you've got to be one of the biggest specialty groups in the country that's not PE backed. So kudos to you guys.
We are the largest, yeah.
You are awesome.
We
awesome.
Yeah, we absolutely, yep.
Very cool. Man, that's cool. So just listening to you, I know where the focus is. So reputation matters, the care delivery matters, reputation of the market matters. And so that tells me that you guys are not hopping on the latest marketing trends and stuff like this. This is like, do the right things, serve on the right platforms. Is that generally accurate? You guys on TikTok and Meta? I just don't.
Yeah, no, I'm not on TikTok, and hey, they just had a ban, so who knows what's going to fall off from that? What's going to happen, right? I think trends come and go, and it's important that you execute elitely on the basics. And just last week, I received a email from it was an unsolicited email, and the first line said, hey George, how you doing? Right? And so the trend is personalization, and when you get it wrong, it's really wrong, right? And so for us, we're focusing on, do we try to personalize? Can we personalize? Yes. Would we rather be a little less personal and get it 100% right? And make sure that George is George and Sarah is Sarah?
Yeah.
We want to be accurate. We want to do the right thing. That said, we do have to keep an eye on what's going on. And so we have been incorporating AI into our marketing, into our comms efforts. It's been great for content generation. It definitely has allowed us to operationalize our style guide a little bit more. We have a very robust style guide, lots of designations and credentials for our doctors. And so AI has been helpful with that. And so if you call AI trendy, then, in that respect, we're on trend. We also do keep an eye on, what are the tools that can make us better if it's not AI, right? What platforms are enabling us to get into more homes, into new homes, and give it a shot. We run a lot of pilots, and sometimes it turns into something new and sometimes it doesn't. But, the other thing is we still fax. Right? Fax, I would not say is a trendy communication tool, but guess what? Our private family veterinarians, they still fax. And so we fax to them.
Whatever works. We have a client. We have a client in Chattanooga. Sorry, Chattanoogans, but they say that the yellow pages and stuff like that. I mean, it was working a few years ago. They're like, it works better than PPC. It's like, who the hell? So whatever works. That's cool, guys.
Whatever works, right? Where are the people who need you?
You got to know your demographic. And Columbus is going to be different than Atlanta and Miami and stuff. And so it could be different. And I do wonder, Meta, TikTok, that kind of stuff, if it works better for like the general vet type stuff than specialty. I guess awareness works no matter what, but Google, even within Google, it's not just search anymore. You have PMAX LSAs and stuff that's running all over YouTube and display. So a lot of good avenues there. Do you guys track all the way through? They land appointment schedule, I know, is the main one probably. And then is that tracked from campaign all the way to I shouldn't use your own name, Cindy came in and ended up being a client?
We are actually working on that now. I would say our ecosystem and all of that data connection points is is an area for us to do better in. And so some of that's still manual just by nature of the tech. And I think that's going to get better over time.
You have it a little easier because you guys are not House of Brands, looking at your website, right? That everybody is MedVet. So that will help.
MedVet.
Yeah, one website, one booking tool, one CRM, one EHR, et cetera. Vets have EHRs? Is that a thing? Is it like a patient management? What, PMS? What do they call it?
We have a hospital management system, or HMS. So we've got that. And that's actually, again, a project we're working on. There's a huge opportunity, I think, in veterinary. I think with marketing, it's still not quite as closely connected into the health and the HMS as it can be. And that's not just for MedVet. I think that's across the board. There's opportunities there. And so where you really see veterinary businesses, hospitals, practices doing well is they're starting to integrate that more to gain those client insights and draw the connections. And there are some great tools out there. Placer AI is a great data tool looking in and can give you a lot of insights. So that's been neat. But ultimately you do want to make those connections between your
absolutely.
HMS and your mass distribution tools, et cetera.
HMS, I learned something new. Okay, so talk to us about the B2B side. Is there any ways that digital marketing supports the referral partners, the liaisons, anything? Do you guys run ads targeting the DVMs, the referring partner? Do we send it? Is it just direct mail? Is it just, hey, walk in and go say hi? Just walk in.
We have a mix. I think digital's a little bit less right now. That could change. We're always looking at it. But right now, we see a lot of benefit from email, fax, face-to-face visits, and then we have a very robust continuing education program. So the veterinary profession, our docs and credentialed techs are required to keep up their CE hours like accountants and other professions. And so we provide more than 120 hours of e-credit each year. And so through those events, we get some relationship in that and nurturing and awareness and, hey, how you doing sort of thing. And then there's also in most states and even in, different regional geographic areas, there's a strong veterinary medical association, national, the AVMA as well as locally. And so those opportunities for networking keeps us close. And again, for us, it is really relationship driven. Our doctors went to school with a lot of doctors that they work with, and it is all about that reputation. Were they a great resident mate? Were they a great classmate? Then chances are they're going to get the referrals, right? And so it's making sure that, people know where our docs are and that they're around and that, when we do have capacity, that we can fill that capacity.
And to our 5 listeners, if one of you's in college, just know your roommates might be looking at you if you're going to be a future DVM and judging whether they're going to send you business. So be nice to everybody.
Yeah, but then that happens everywhere, right? And I think what you say, and you want to be kind. Right? And be a good person and do what's right. And once you get that reputation, and then when you really hone your craft, and, we have doctors that are maybe some of the first and some of the only that can do the procedures that they can do, and they continue to reinvest and share their expertise. You want those people around you, right? Just like us in marketing and in communications, right? Once you meet the people you vibe with and respect their expertise, you want to keep them in your network, right? So it's really no different than other professions. With the, I like to say, the veterinarians on the front lines, they do have life in their hands. My little marketing ad or comm isn't really going to change the world per se, right?
Well, I like to think it is because, Sarah, if we don't run that PPC ad and instead they either find no one or they find the wrong vet,
That is true.
I've actually seen that personally in my own family. It goes the wrong way. And so, we get to use our marketing superpowers for good and save some lives, pet or human. So I like it. It helps me sleep at night knowing that we're doing something useful. So that's cool. Okay, let's talk comms now a little bit. Comms I'm not as familiar with. Comms, what is the intention? Is it internal to have everybody on the same page? Is it external to get more PR? Walk us through.
All of the above in my world. So internally, I think communications plays a tremendous role in what is the culture of your organization? How are you maintaining alignment? How are you moving forward? Can your colleagues connect to the purpose, right? Do they understand and if why they're doing what they're doing? And if they're having a bad day, can they link on to something, right? Maybe in comms and say, you know what? today might not be such a bad day because I got this going on, right? So how do we help recognize? How do we help celebrate? How do we show gratitude? For us at MedVet, those are hallmarks to what we talk about all the time. And then externally, I think the important piece is making sure there's alignment and connectivity so that we're all talking consistently, right? If our marketing colleagues, our experienced colleagues, start saying something else, right? We start to potentially lose credibility or authenticity, right? So you really want to have your comms internally dovetail into your external comms, right? And then be supportive to your marketing messages at the end of the day. So we all are consistent, look our best, and that ultimately builds the brand, right? Because you're consistent in and out, right?
I love it. Let's talk about the internal part first. And so is your BFF the chief people officer or whoever's? Yeah, right? Because
Absolutely.
It's like, I need you to tell me the good stuff that happened with the people and the pets. And then you take that message to all colleagues. Is that how?
It's guiding the narrative. And then I also have the pleasure of working with the executives. So I do a lot of communications working alongside our CEO and our leadership team. And so making sure that her narrative and her authenticity can be shared to the masses. She's one person. She can't get everywhere.
Are you doing the PR outreach?
I do some of her outreach, help her with town halls and, also.
Man, I want a Sarah. That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So I'm the person behind the person behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
And then, part of communications is events. It may not seem intuitive, but an event is a way to communicate. And so also have the pleasure of, being involved in our annual leadership summit, looking for who are the keynotes we're bringing in, what are the developments that we're going to share, the learnings, how are we networking, what fun activities are you doing? And that is part of how we communicate, right? We're communicating through our body language, through how we show up, how we come together, and how we even just facilitate communication. And I don't think people think about events in that way very often, but it's definitely part of us here.
And I guess you have to reach a certain point because something that you sometimes an event manager, you're like kind of chief of staff. I've seen that thrown around. That person organized the leadership team, the event. Like, yeah, you have a lot of hats. This is cool. I'm learning about comms and how many hats you guys wear. The marketing side, I understand pretty well. That's fun. You're like the head of talent's most useful. How do I say this? Right. The head of talent, if I was a head of talent and it didn't come with a head of comms, I'd be very nervous. It's like, cool, I'll talk to people individually, but there's no one like spreading the message and the goodwill around to the rest of the team.
Tell great stories to help form and shape the narrative, right? And then, again, sometimes things go bump in the night. So how do we get through it together? Right? How do we learn from it and navigate through whatever the situation is? Snow in New Orleans can be challenging, right? It threatens our ability to keep the hospitals open, or fires in LA.
What would you do about that? You're communicating with those teams and saying, hey, what help do you need? If you can't get in, okay, reroute. Like what?
So it goes into how are we communicating? Any sort of continuity planning, prep? Can we allay concerns? Yes, you're going to get paid. Don't worry about it. Making sure they understand that, hey, if you can't get in, your safety is paramount, right? And just, communications has a hand in all of those different processes, policies, procedures, intranet, etc.
Man, awesome. So fun. I'm going to try to get more communications professionals on here. This is cool. I'm learning a lot. What should marketing know about, like, where do you overlap? What makes a marketer a superpower if they know this about your job or how they could help better?
That's a good question, Alex.
Yeah, well, rarely do they happen.
I think it's important to lean on comms to really be able to talk through audience, what's your key point, what's the goal of the communication, what's the goal of what you're doing, and what is the data telling you? Because I think communications working alongside marketers can just really bring a great story to life with all the pieces in a way that's going to resonate the most.
Yeah, because you know the value props and the brand differentiators better than anybody, and marketers, our favorite job is to take that to market, but oftentimes we skip over what are the differentiators and the value props and staying on brand.
You're like, but it looks so pretty. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't sound great, right? Now, with us and pets, cute puppies, cats, turtles, whatever, birds, whatever they are, that makes it a little bit more discerning. But, it is taken, really looking at your audience and what is your goal and what are you trying to accomplish. And I think the best marketers can communicate well, or they know and lean on someone and are willing to collaborate with those who can do even better than them. And vice versa, right? I'm a better communicator
Yeah.
because of the marketing aspects.
I will say you're a hell of a communicator. You're very deliberate. And this was awesome because I got 3 hours of sleep and you answered most of my questions without me having to get to. I had to put Visine in right before. So this was good. Sarah, so deliberate. Last question. What are you most excited about in 2025? Where's your focus going? The biggest opportunity? We know we don't like trends. So what are you excited about?
I know. So, I mean, the trends do come around, right? I mean, we're all wearing neon again and hitting on our grunge shirts again for a reason.
Love Nirvana.
But no, I am super excited to be opening new hospitals this year at MedVet. In fact, we'll be in Atlanta for the first time.
Hey, okay.
So in the ATL, that'll be great. We'll also be in Phoenix and in Austin, 3 communities that need our care. So that's cool. We opened some brand new hospitals for existing locations to give our caregivers more space, more equipment. So new hospitals don't just go to new places, they go to existing places too. And at the end of the day, we want to serve more pets. So making sure we come top of mind. And, personally, I have a special needs dog, so I want to make sure she continues to get the best care possible and have fun while we're doing it, right? Keep perspective. I think that's my word of 2025 is perspective, right? How do you maintain your own perspective on whatever you're working through and working towards and working on? And how do you keep in mind other people's perspectives and how the realities interconnect? So perspective is the word of 2025 for Sarah.
I like that. I might steal that. It's never as good or as bad as we think it is. Be kind, rewind, and it pays off later. And so, perspective matters a lot. I get personally hung up in the drama of the day, and I'm like, oh my God, don't forget, Alex, just doing what we're doing, you're going to have a lot of these days. Tomorrow will be a better day.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sarah.
Or when your teenager rolls his eyes at you, it's okay. Right?
I've got one of those. I talked to his mama yesterday. I said, dude, this guy don't like to work, and this is a working family. I don't know what we're going to do with him. And then I've got the babies running around. Why won't Oliver pay attention? He's 15, so he'll come around in 10 years. Sarah, okay, I'll send you my copay for the therapy session as well. Sarah, thank you for joining us on Ignite.
Fun. No time at all, and enjoyed just the chance to talk and spread a little news about MedVet.
I love it. Now you'll have 2 more friends. All 2 of our listeners are going to be tuning in.
I'll share it, and then we'll get 3 or 4.
All right, we'll get 3 or 4. All right, I love it. Thank you, Sarah.